science, and math, and that arts classes give students a sense of belonging and teach them how to work together with peers towards a long-term goal, and how they teach better than any other subject the incredibly important skills of collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, and communication. All of that is very true, by the way. But to me, I fear that perhaps the greatest thing about music in schools is something that we won't fully recognize until it's gone, and it's really hard to explain what I'm talking about, but I'm going to try anyway. Just before moving to Delaware, I was the high school band director in Norton, Kansas, a town of about 2,300 people way out in the Great Plains, up in the corner of northwest Kansas between Colorado and Nebraska. And in many ways, it was something like being transported back to the 1950s or early 60s, like it was some sort of time capsule. And I'll admit, this was in good ways and bad ways. But the high school band in that town was a really big deal, and the entire town was extremely proud of it. Some photos from my time in Norton came up in my Facebook memories the other day. It was Homecoming 2012, 10 years ago. And it could have just as easily been Homecoming 1957, because they shut down the entire main street in Norton for the homecoming parade. It went from the high school all the way down the main street through town to the courthouse square, the band, of course, right out in front. And then we had a big pep rally on the courthouse square, and all the businesses, of course, around there were all closed because this is the most important thing going on. Then we continued on down from there to the stadium for the big game. And pretty much every single person in town was there. And without the band, it just would not have been the same. We don't really have events like that in most of America anymore. And I think that loss of community, that loss of pulling together for one big thing, that loss is a very, very, very bad thing. So, here's a pretty silly little march written in the 1960s that I think captures that spirit. That time when a town would still gather together for events like that with the high school band right out front.